Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations in Horror, the podcast. I am your host, Kevin L. Powers. I'm also the owner, operator of Something Wicked Entertainment and Events, and I want to welcome to our program today. Now, if you've been with us, you'll know that what we do on our program is we take an individual horror film. Doesn't matter what subgenre, it doesn't matter what decade. We kind of take a little bit of all of them, and we kind of dissect it. We critique, analyze, generally have a conversation about that movie in order to get to the nitty-gritty of whether or not that film is good or not, or if it has any merits for you as the audience to actually take your chance and watch the film. Now, many times we are doing some great movies. You know, it's always good to do some of those classic horror films. And then other times we're doing the ones that are not so classic, not so well remembered, or completely forgotten. It's going to be interesting today because the movie we're talking about today, I don't know where it stands. Before I get to the title of the movie that we're doing today, I would like to welcome my special guest for the day, Dave Watkins. He's been here plenty of times. I want to thank you, Dave, for joining me.
Thanks for having me back on.
All right, excellent. Because we are talking about the movie House 2, The Second Story. I always want to get everyone's kind of, want to know, what was your first impression? When did you see this movie? Because I have a different story, I'm sure, than you have. So go ahead, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I guess in order to talk about House 2, I got to say a little bit about House 1 because that's what brought me to House 2. And
Okay.
I'm not going to say a lot about House 1, but if we do need to do a podcast separately on that one. But the very first House is, I think I saw that with a babysitter. I think we watched that, and it was one of my earlier horror movies. It is kind of a horror comedy technically,
Hmm.
um, but though it does have some fairly gruesome stuff in it. And then this one, I don't remember exactly when I first saw it, but I knew it was a sequel to the first House, and I wanted to see it because of that. And it it is it's not as it's got a lot more comedy in it, and it's a more, I guess, a kind of a gentle, almost kid friendly, almost not really, but a little more kid friendly. And actually, they said that it did really good between, like, 10 to 14 years old, and that audience, that demographic, that was their audience. And this is a 1987 film. So when it came out, I was kind of in that demographic, but when I saw it, it was a little bit later, I think. But yeah,
So I saw this when I was roughly 11 or 12 years old, and I saw it when it came out. So I'm like you, actually. I was a huge fan of the first House movie. Probably saw it way too many times. So when I heard that they made a sequel, I was dying to see this film. Like, I was like waiting to see this film. I did not, unfortunately, get to see it at the box office, but I do remember that when the movie came out, there was a comic book adaptation of this freaking movie, and I must have I bought it and I must have
you
read it.
got it. Yeah,
Yeah, I got it, of course, because I was dying to see the movie. And unfortunately for
yeah.
me, I realized then when I read the comic book that it had nothing to do with the first movie. But I still wanted to see the movie.
I bet it made it better though, like seeing the comic. I remember like seeing like Star Wars stuff when I was a kid, like reading all the stories. So I went to the movie. I knew everything that was going to happen, so it was already, but it was still really cool that I already knew it.
It was, but like we were about, like you mentioned a little bit, this movie, in my opinion, was much funnier than the first. See, when I was a kid, I never really saw the first movie as funny. It's
Right?
not
Yeah,
that
and
I,
I didn't either. I didn't either really. It's got some funny part. It still like has some. I don't know. But I think the thing is, if you don't think it's funny, you're going to think it's stupid because you're not going to think it's scary enough. Yeah, that's the kind of impression I get. But I think as a kid seeing it, a lot of that stuff was pretty scary.
yeah. I will agree with you because I kind of saw this at the same type of humor as the original Gremlins had. So for me, it was dark and it wasn't it was like it had these moments that were scary for me as a kid, but they were never funny. Like, I can watch Gremlins now and I can watch the original House now and say, "Oh, these movies are funny to me now. I get the humor now." The House 2 was always funny to me.
Yeah.
It was always kind of like this weird adventure movie where they kept going into different worlds, and that's how and it had dinosaurs. So it was like, wow, I got this weird movie with dinosaurs. What the hell? And as a kid, I always loved dinosaurs. So
Yeah, yeah. The dinosaur stuff's really cool in it too. The puppets, it's like almost they look kind of like Jim Henson, that
Pterodactyl
pterodactyl puppet, like the baby pterodactyl. It's
or whatever
you got
that
the you
dog
got the
caterpillar
yeah.
thing is.
It's like dog caterpillar green. And that thing, it's pretty cool looking. I think a lot of people might hate that dog caterpillar, but I've always liked it pretty good. I don't know. It's,
You know what? I never had a problem with that when I was a kid watching it, and when I rewatched it before our podcast, I had no problem with it either. I know my wife was thinking because she was there with me, sitting right next to me as I'm watching this movie, and I'm laughing at
yeah,
that. I'm
yeah,
laughing my ass off because it's all funny to me now. And she's like, she looks up. And like I could tell, she's saying, "What are you laughing at? This movie's so freaking cheesy." And I,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
looking at this and I'm laughing my ass off because I'm still finding it funny. I'm still
yeah,
finding it funny as shit, especially Jonathan
yeah.
Stark, who plays Charlie. Dude, I find his ass hilarious as shit in this movie and Fright Night. And the only two movies I know, I don't know if he ever did anything else. These are literally the only two movies from the '80s that I've seen him in a billion times, and I find him hilarious as shit in both of them.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And I know he's done some other stuff, but nothing bigger. But he is great in both of the movies, and it's unfortunate that he didn't get like bigger roles following this that in other films because he doesn't phone it in. He's fairly hilarious in both films.
Yeah, I think so too. So we're talking so much about our enjoyment of this film, and of course, if you've seen the film, you know exactly what we're talking about. If you've never seen the film, I guess we should probably start off as this is really a self-contained film from the other films in this franchise, in that it's almost like an anthology franchise before they were doing anthology franchises. First film is completely different than the second film, which is completely different than the third film, which is pretty much different than the fourth film, even though it's like a loose sequel to the first film. uh
Yeah, let me address that real quick. I know a little bit more about
oh,
it.
you do? Okay.
Yeah. So the first film did really good at the box office. It made it was a $3 million budget, $22.1 million. So the second one got greenlit based on that.
Hmm.
It same budget, $3 million, and they put a lot on screen for $3 million, and they did a really good job with that budget in comparison. If it's the same budget as the first one, it looks bigger than the first one.
Oh yeah.
Um, but it only made $10 million at the box office, which they made money, but it was disappointing. Now they had already started the third one at the time, and since the second one didn't do good, they were worried about comedy elements, so they started pulling the comedy elements out of it. So it's more serious. And the third one, there is a set from Arrow Video there that have all these in Blu-ray that it's a pretty cool set, but the third one has scenes in it that you've probably never seen because they were cut from the movie to get an R rating. So it's got new
Oh,
scenes in it in the third one. And then the third one and the fourth one, like you're talking about, it's loosely based on it. It's really just got maybe 10 minutes of connection to the other movies, but that one was a
yeah.
direct to TV one and probably the lesser of the four films.
I just remember the first and fourth one because of William Catt, who I used to love as an actor because he was in Greatest American Hero.
Right.
I don't know if William Catt really did much of anything else outside of Greatest American Hero and House for me. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
or he
This.
did, but that's
Yeah.
what I know him for.
Right. And he's pretty likable. And in House, and the first House has George Wendt in it from Cheers, and this one has Bill Ratzenberger from Cheers. So it's kind of cool the way they had the two bar guys in the film, both of the films. It's kind of a cool little connection they put in there. It's John Ratzenberger. I call him Bill Ratzenberger.
Yeah,
He plays the. I think his character's
it's
name
Bill.
is
His
Bill.
character is
Yeah,
Bill.
yeah,
He just
yeah,
Bill the electrician and adventurer, which I found
yeah,
hilarious. I forgot that he actually gave them a business card that said that after he's leaving.
yeah. That's
Um,
awesome. The whole sequence he's in is friggin' awesome, though. He's so good in this movie.
yeah, because this movie is so much, in my opinion. I love the first one. Like I've seen it a billion times. I love the first one, but this one to me, even though it steers more like a comedy set slash adventure film, I actually really like the different tone because I've never kind of said, oh, this is just a sequel to the first one. I've always kind of taken this one by a film on its own merit, kind of like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I kind of just look at those movies as they're their own damn thing. They're not really part of a franchise where you stories connect in any way. This one is about a house that's not so much haunted as it is a gateway to other worlds or other time periods, more or less, which I thought was really cool.
Well, in the first house though, they do have those connections in the window. They breaks the mirror in the bathroom and goes into another world. So it does kind of have some of the same elements, even though it doesn't have characters that are connect them. They do have elements like those type of worlds that are established in the first film that they really go berserk with in this one.
They go
So
berserk.
yeah,
No, that's a good way. They go berserk. They go into prehistoric time with a caveman, and then I'm gonna call it Aztec time with a freaking
yeah,
ritual sacrifice. And then of
right,
course the Old West.
right.
They actually spend a little bit more time in the Old West, but we get a lot. We get enough of it.
Right, yeah. I think they were only able to shoot the Old West stuff in like 1 or 2 days. I think they had 1 day to shoot all the scenes that took place there, and so they were kind of like, including the last scene, which takes place during the day. They had to shoot the very last scene of the film. They had to shoot that one first. That was the very first shoot thing they shot, and then they shot all the ending in the Old West and stuff. So yeah, there's not enough Old West. You do get to see an undead horse thing that looks pretty cool, but
Yeah.
it's pre CGI. It looks, I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's definitely dated. But it's cool that they tried to do it. Yes.
Yeah, it's a mixture of it's a mixture of several different elements, including stop motion, which I didn't really notice as much until recently rewatching it, and that's because my brain's now integrated with all the CGI stuff that we're used to seeing from Avengers and
Yeah.
Avatar and stuff like that. So when I was a kid and I saw this film, I thought the horse was cool as shit, but we only got him for like a couple seconds in the shot, and that was it.
Yeah, they barely got that done. They said it was really hard. It's very expensive. So
Yeah, well, I'm sure it was back then. I mean, geez. Uh,
yeah. But
but
they said they did a lot of the work in this film with matte paintings. They had a very, very talented matte painter who went on to do a bunch of other stuff. But like a lot of the stuff you see is matte paintings, and it actually works really well.
hmm.
Sometimes you can hardly tell.
So did you listen to the commentary on there or some of the behind the
Yeah,
scenes stuff?
yeah. There's a commentary with the director Ethan Wiley. Ethan Wiley went on to direct Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror, which I've never seen, but I think he did a competent job directing this film.
Oh yeah.
And he's done some other things, but he hasn't done a lot. And him and Sean S. Cunningham, who produced all the House films and the first Friday the 13th. Um, didn't he direct the first Friday the 13th, or was
Yes.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so he directed it. Yeah, but he produced all the House films, and then there's a director's commentary and with him talking with Sean Cunningham on there. Pretty good bit of information.
yeah, he'd be interesting to talk to because he did a lot of these similar tone type movies back then that we all remember from the 80s. But
Yeah,
he just had this shtick about the types of movies he's made, kind of like, well, I was about to say Jason Blum, but Jason Blum just produces anything and everything now. He used to have a little shtick, but now he just does everything. Um, but
yeah. Was it like there's some other ones that are doing kind of like that. Was it? Is it A23? Is that the
A24,
studio?
A24.
A24, yeah, yeah.
Everybody wants to branch out and do multiple different things. It's good to have a movie like this. Now, I don't know if a movie like this would get made in this day and age anymore. It seems like it's one of those films that's kind of lost to the time period in which it was being made, and we've discussed this many times on our program, in which the '80s were kind of a time period where every type of horror film was being made and experimented with, and less of that is being done today.
Yeah. Well, there's some. I mean, I think that this wouldn't get made today because they're definitely more afraid of comedy horror, and like this one is. This one's odd though. I think that there's some parts of this that don't completely work, especially the first act, the first like 30 minutes. It's really it's a bit of a jarring thing. Once the caveman comes, the movie's like changes a lot. But the setup of this is like he's inherited this house. His parents were killed. There's an opening sequence where his parents were killed by this pretty crazy looking gunslinger, undead gunslinger. And then it's 25 years later, he comes back. He was the baby from the beginning, and he's got a girlfriend with him named Kate, played by Lar Park Lincoln, who was in Friday the 13th Part 7. But she just doesn't like him, or she doesn't seem like she gives a shit about anything that he's doing. All she wants to do is go make a phone call and call her agents. And for some reason, she's working with some, I guess, music studio thing. All of this is very like
Odd.
odd, and it's all like a lot, I think, and it doesn't really pay off. And but he's having to look through this book of his ancestors, and then while he's doing that, since she won't listen to him or give a shit about anything that he's doing, the script and the actor have to say everything out loud that they're thinking for the audience to know. So he doesn't have anybody to talk to because of the way it's written for her to be so unreactive to him. And so that then you have like a lot of him and her for the first 30 minutes, and then the Charlie guy shows up, and him and his girlfriend are trying to get her attention because his girlfriend sings, and they play like a tape of her dancing and singing, and she comes in, and then just from hearing that tape, she wants to sign him, and then she calls her, I guess her agent or something, played by Bill Maher, which Bill Maher, who's he's a celebrity now, but he's got a pretty small role in this, but he's pretty funny in the part that he is. But anyway, so I'm just saying all of this is doesn't pay off in the film hardly. It doesn't necessarily help the film, all of that exposition with those characters, because it's really about the house, and he digs his grandfather up. He finds his grandfather's picture, and he finds out that he has this crystal skull, which from like the crystal skull from Indiana Jones, and they have to go dig him up. And really, that's the story. Once that happens,
You know what? I noticed that when I rewatched the whole thing for the film. I was like, I made a note of it too. I was like, well, halfway through, they find a way to get rid of all of the extraneous characters who do nothing for the actual plot for the rest of the movie.
yeah,
And then you're right, there is no payoff. They don't come back. They're not mentioned again. It's like, they could have cut all that out actually.
yeah.
It wouldn't have hurt the film at all.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that it does like help some places, but I think that it would have been better his girlfriend had he been able to talk to her, and she wasn't like so
Oblivious.
ridiculous. I mean, it seems like, or I don't know. I mean, it kind of that whole setup of it reminds me of the first Ghoulies movie for the first like maybe 10 minutes. It reminds me of Ghoulies a little bit, and the way that he goes into the mansion, and they start like looking at things, and then they figure out other things. But it's completely different than Ghoulies. But just the initial 10 minutes setup, it's completely different than once the movie kicks into gear.
Well,
But I do like her performance, like Laura Park Lincoln. I do like her performance. I just don't like it that there's not a good payoff and she disappears.
Well, I think Bill Maher's character, I can't remember Bill Maher's, John is a
Yeah,
much has much more fun in the
yeah,
film
yeah.
than Kate.
Yeah.
Kate seems like you say this completely oblivious girlfriend who has a completely different, uh, career ahead of her,
Yeah.
whereas Jesse, who our main character by Ari Gross, is like this. He cares about his family that he doesn't remember, and he's got this new house that he's gonna go back and kind of figure out what exactly happened to his parents and all that type of stuff, and that's all just background for him, until of course, he digs up Gramps, his I think great grandfather.
Yeah, I think it's great great grandfather. Yeah.
And that's where the connections really come in. Now, Charlie is just comic relief, and he does that job really fucking well throughout the whole
Yeah.
movie. His looks, his mannerisms, and just those little sides that he has to say about everything. He's like the complete, comic foil in the entire movie. But you're right regarding, the whole music thing, the whole Bill Maher thing. I think Bill Maher has fun because he's trying to. They don't obviously say this, but you kind of get the idea that he does not like Jesse at all. And
Yeah, yeah.
he's trying to ruin their relationship for no apparent reason other than he can. Um,
Yeah, I think that I mean, it doesn't dip into it too hard, but I think he probably likes Kate. He probably likes her, and he probably would rather be with her than her be with Jesse. But but it's probably I think that's kind of what's going on with it, but it's never confirmed.
No, it's never
Yeah, I
good.
think I think he's playing it that way though. He definitely doesn't like him. He thinks he's like a loser or
Oh
whatever, even
yeah,
though
oh yeah.
he's got this badass house, So it's like,
And,
but
and they know each other because he knows who Rochelle is, the girl from Jesse's past who shows up at the Halloween party.
yeah,
You know,
that's another thing that's just so random, and it's they're playing with these women, but then they don't really pay them off hardly. These some of these characters are set up, and she kind of shows up and it's like all over him, like and it's
yep.
it's just a drunk, really drunk, but
And,
um,
and you know, you
yeah,
bring up something there is no strong female character in this film, really. Not to be, and the Kate may come off as strong, but when she hears that her boyfriend Jesse is just maybe getting having something with Rochelle from Bill Maher's character, she goes off on him. She literally
yeah.
slaps him, goes off on him, and then she needs Valium to calm down from Bill
It's
Maher.
like it's like really sudden. That's a very sudden like jump from
Yeah,
her fairly calm demeanor to suddenly that mad at him. That I mean, she seems like she don't give a shit about anything that he does, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she does care.
yeah.
And it's like, but just because the script says to care, and two on top of that, it's like there's no like this girl shows up and she's all over him at the party, and it's not like he's not necessarily like doing anything with her. It's like she's all over him. So what? Why is she mad at Jesse about this other girl who's drunk, who's all over him? I mean, it's like that should be like she should be mad at the girl.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I don't, I
And
don't.
I'm only saying this because eventually we'll get to the woman who's the only other female character that shows up in the entire movie after they leave, which is the virgin character, which they don't ever give her a name, because she's just the
Yeah, yeah.
virgin Aztec, sacrifice.
All right.
Who
Who doesn't talk?
she doesn't talk, but Charlie obviously says that she likes Jesse, and not Charlie, because Charlie gets food thrown in his face whenever he talks to her, which I still find that hilarious scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, it's funny about Charlie too, though. When he's first introduced in this movie, he comes off obnoxious, like his girlfriend and Kate at first, because he almost seems like he's more associated with Kate and the girlfriend until they go to dig up the grandfather, and then he seems like he's more into Jesse after that.
That's interesting. I did not think about that, but I think you might be right. I think you might be absolutely right. As soon as he digs up Gramps, there becomes this, I'd say, this kind of male triumvirate between Gramps, Charlie, and Jesse
Yeah,
at that point, and then they're all like best friends. Because
yeah.
Charlie even takes Gramps out on the town to drink, like the old Western days and all that type of stuff. When they
Yeah.
first the night of their first digging him up. Um,
The makeup on Gramps, played by Royal Dano, is really good. I really like his performance. Comes off very very. I do like his performance, and this is one of his later films,
yeah.
his filmography. But and apparently they said they couldn't insure him because he had had some kind of heart attack before this, and they weren't able to insure him, but they hired him anyway, and he had to go through rigorous makeup. But he said he didn't care. He was just really into the project.
No, I didn't know that. I know him as a character actor, having seen him in like a myriad of films back in the day, and even now, when I go back and watch older films, I kind of see him pop up, and he's always been Gramps to me because I've seen his movie way too many
Yeah.
times when I was a kid. Uh, he's always
Yeah, he's in the Space Invaders and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, playing a very similar character.
yeah. But it's hard. He comes off as a natural Western guy, but it always the stories just always kind of seems like crazy that him and his partner Slim Razor, his partner Slim
Yeah.
Razor, are digging up crystal skulls in pyramid ruins at the same time as they're in the Western kind of world, which is always hilarious to me. I only noticed it even more when I rewatched the movie. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is kind of odd. And he goes from being an archaeologist to like a cowboy, a Western cowboy.
Yeah, but it's cool. I like the look
Yeah.
of Slim Razor in this movie. I almost wish I almost wish that he was in it more, but I actually don't wish it because his entrance at the end is a really fucking cool entrance.
Yeah, it's hilarious too when that happens.
It is. So everyone after we've gotten rid of the first half of the movie and we're done tramping through, the caveman days and the Aztec days, and everyone's sitting around having dinner, and they say they give thanks to their meal and the fact that everyone at the table is now Jesse's new family.
But this
Big
just set this up a little bit better though. At the table, the pterodactyl and the caterpillar puppy are sitting at the table with and the
yeah.
Aztec virgin sacrifice they saved.
No, you're absolutely right. We should set this up for people who have never seen the movie. That there's all these crazy things around the table.
Yeah,
Charlie, the virgin sacrifice from the Aztec. That dog worm thing, caterpillar thing, the pterodactyl who, for once, doesn't have the crystal skull in its mouth, and
yeah.
an undead mummy, Gramps, are all sitting at the table, and Jesse's giving thanks for the family he now has. So that would assume that his Kate and everything else was not. He never felt close enough to her for her to be included in that family aspect.
Well, she really sucked, really a lot.
She did. But I mean, this sticks with the theme of the kind of like what comes through the whole film with the aspect that Gramps has this house that was been in generations in his family, and of course Jesse's mother and father died in that house at the very beginning of the movie, and at the end of the movie we see all of this new family that Jesse has now that he knows exactly what happened to his parents, what happened to Gramps, and then lo and behold, the thing that caused this strife to begin with, Mr. Slim Razor, appears out of the dinner dish.
Yeah, they bring it out and they're like they set it down on the table and they're like you're assuming this could be a turkey or something. They pick it up, they lift it up, and then he comes out from under the table. It's like I guess it's a portal or something, you know.
You know what? I never gave it much thought, but you're absolutely right. He just comes out of there as though it's like he just has control over coming out of dishes and stuff like that, which seems really fucking weird because it's not a portal, in my opinion. But it's cool visual.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember first seeing, and not just first seeing it, but subsequent viewings of it. I always liked that scene of how he was introduced, because
Yeah.
only in the very beginning and then in the climax of the film, and that's it. Which is something very similar to what happened in the original House with Ben.
Big Ben, yeah.
Big Ben. His ghostly figure shows really up at the end, which is another cool fucking visual. They actually did that really well for both these movies. Big Ben and Slim Razor, the cool fucking visuals.
Yeah. That the ending of it reminds me a lot of Big Ben, like when Slim shows up and he's basically shooting at him through the house and stuff like that. Really reminiscent of that, which is a good callback, I think, to the first House.
Yeah.
What's weird is that the Slim character. So I was listening to the behind the scenes, which I've never noticed this before. You never see his mouth move because he's wearing a mask, and he couldn't basically they didn't have the funding to make his mouth move, so they had to do all of his lines like when his character wasn't on camera. So they came up with some creative ways of doing that, which you don't even notice because he's the way the characters. Yeah, I noticed it after they said it, but before that, it was like I never even thought about it.
Oh damn! Now I'm gonna notice it every time I watch it again.
If you look at his mouth, it never moves.
No, I never noticed that. But like the other action sequences in the film, this actually has a really nice climax action sequence because it goes from this dinner scene where Slim, shoots Gramps, the person he's held responsible for stealing the skull from him and putting him where he is, to him stealing the Virgin. Of course, the Virgin has to come back up. Someone's got to always steal the Virgin. Uh, and then, of course, Slim, he flees. And of course, Charlie chases after him. I never could figure out exactly why Charlie flees after him. But it works for the story. It works for
What he flees from what? From being in the Western world, you mean?
yeah, when he chases after Slim
Yeah,
to the house. But and then of course, next time we see Charlie and the Virgin, they're
they're
tied up
tied up, and
and they're
yeah,
tied up in the Western world. Because then really becomes a story about Jesse. And it should be because he's like the main
yeah,
character. So it becomes Jesse's like he's becoming a a real man by taking his great great grandfather's gun, and going after Slim into the Western world, and taking responsibility and getting not really revenge, but more like vengeance, upon his parents getting killed by Slim and his grandfather getting killed by Slim, or his great great grandfather getting killed.
they treat it in a pretty good way too.
Yeah,
He doesn't like just man up and he suddenly has like like Ray from Star Wars skills out of nowhere.
no,
You know,
no.
he's still not qualified to shoot the gun or even go after Slim. But some of the circumstances that happen like end up aiding him and able to get the shots in that he gets.
That's absolutely because when he has that regular handgun, he sucks at shooting that. He never hits his mark. It's only when he has a shotgun that he's able to actually hit Slim. Like
Yeah,
you see that with his great great grandfather's gun, he can't shoot shit and hit it.
yeah.
And that's a really cool sequence because this guy Jesse gets shot twice by Slim.
No, yeah. He got shot like nicked in the arm and he got shot somewhere else too. But
A leg, he gets
yeah,
shot in
yeah.
the leg too.
But it's
Uh,
fine. It's just a scratch.
it's just a scratch.
You don't even have to go to the doctor for that shit.
uh, Before we get to the end, yeah, there's a reason why he just doesn't go to a regular doctor. Right?
Yeah.
Um, but they
But
but they kind of hop back and forth between the Western and going back into the house, which I thought was very interesting and much more dynamic than just being stuck and say we go from the house to the Western world and the rest of the movie takes place in there. But the reality is all of this haunting portal jumping has always affected the real world in this movie. The caveman sequence was readily everyone in a freaking Halloween party that's being done at the house. They see the caveman. The caveman walks right straight through them on purpose, throws one guy over the ledge. And at the end of this movie, when Slim and Jesse are having their battle, so to speak, their gunfight, the cops are there. Like the neighbors have
yeah,
called the cops
yeah,
because they keep hearing gunfire. Like
yeah. This cops are kind of some assholes too, a little bit. They're like, oh, he just moved in. He's like, well, he's moving out tonight.
they are nowadays. When I look at this scene, I think it's I think it's a bad scene because these cops shoot first, ask questions later. Like
Yeah,
they don't know how many people are in the house, but they're gonna
right. Yeah.
shoot. They don't ever see
Yeah.
Jesse,
And
and
they
they'll
just
shoot.
assume that they just assume it's him with like no one's seen him shooting. They just heard gunshots and they're like, there's gunshots coming from inside the house. Like, what does it matter? Yeah.
You don't know who it is. You don't know how many people are in there, and they haven't shot anything outside the house just yet. I found that hilarious rewatching the movie. When I was a
Yeah.
kid, it never really clicked with me. I just
But
thought, oh damn, these cops are serious.
yeah, but they definitely are. They're serious and they're ready. They're like they want to shoot somebody, And then when they Slim finally shoots out the window and hits one of the cops, they're like it's on at that
Yeah,
point. It's like it's like we're tearing. They're gonna burn the whole house down. If anybody would have been in there, they'd have died.
yeah, and they don't even care about that either. They catch the house on fire. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Uh, Catch the house on fire. And then of course, Slim gets his final shots are by the cops who destroy his body, shooting straight through the freaking walls and the windows at thinking it's Jesse. And of course, Slim's body, without a head at this point, goes falling to the ground. So, which forces Jesse to flee into the portal that opens up with the skull energizes. I'm gonna say that word when the skull energizes, because when the skull energizes, a portal opens up and strange shit happens.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's yeah. I do want to mention something. Go back a little bit to the Halloween party.
Yes, I want to go back to the Halloween party too.
Yeah, because the Halloween party is kind of random. It's cool, but it's random. They're downstairs, like Charlie's downstairs with his friend, with Charlie and Jesse are downstairs talking to Gramps, and Gramps tells this long story, and they're all into it. And apparently, that's something Royal Dano actually would do. He would like sit there and talk to people like that, and they would like all sit around and just be like amazed by what he was saying. He was a storyteller like that. But then they come back upstairs, and it's been hours. Open the door, and there's a Halloween party, and it's like, where did that come from? You know, it's like
Charlie says, I invited a few people over for a Halloween party. Oh,
one thing it's Halloween. All of it is when did it become Halloween? And then like there should have been at least some mention of there being a Halloween party before the Halloween party started. You know,
yeah, it makes for a really cool scene only because Gramps gets to come out there like a fucking zombie.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
that's that's the only thing I can see the reason for the Halloween party is to allow Gramps to mingle with the modern day people in their own setting at a Halloween party, because you couldn't do it any other time of year, really.
Yeah, I just don't like the way it wasn't established like before. But and it's kind of cool though. Kane Hodder's actually in the scene. He's the guy wearing the gorilla suit that gets thrown off the balcony by the caveman. It also helps because the caveman comes through and nobody thinks twice about a guy dressed up like a caveman, you know? So it's like that. I mean, it works, but I just don't think it was established very good.
No, I don't either. But it's one of those things where I don't. It's one of those things where do you want them to establish it, or do you just want it to be like a complete surprise? I don't know, but you're right in that there is no lead up to that being Halloween at all, none. And the thing is, it's for the most part, the movie takes place in the course of 3 days. Like it's a really, really short time period that the movie takes place in.
But yeah, when that part where Bill Maher's character comes in there earlier on, and there it seems like they're the ones who did the party. You know, him and the other girls. Like Kate and Lana, but like it seems like they're the ones that did it. You think at that point they would have mentioned something about them coming back later for a party. It was just I don't know. I mean, can you imagine though, like this party? Someone had to decorate this thing. Well, I guess they're movie studio executives, so they just have people they can just pay to come out. But it's decorated pretty good, and there's some crazy costumes. A lot of people.
You know what? That doesn't make sense. It's decorated the way it is. If Charlie is the one who invited people over there for a Halloween party,
well, I don't think he did. I don't think he did though. I think it's them. I think it's like Kate and the other people. But it's like I don't know. Yeah, yeah. It's just like a lot. There's a lot of questions that aren't answered about the Halloween party.
It was just cool to have a Halloween party.
Yeah, I agree. I was excited. When they came out and they came out from downstairs into a badass Halloween party, I was like, hell yeah. You know, it's like
yeah, I don't think I ever took notice of it until you just mentioned it now. So it was never a big deal to me growing up, and neither was it when I was rewatching it. It was always a scene that just kind of came out of nowhere, and I just went with it.
But I guess my biggest complaint about the film in general is the Kate character and the way that all of this could have been a lot better had her character been written better. It's just a few little things like that, like say if I just don't understand why she had to be written the way it such a like just uninterested in what he's doing and just I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like I think that if that character was written a little better, I think it would have played better. But obviously, they wanted to team him up with Charlie and not Kate, because Ghoulies, I guess he teams up with his girlfriend in that in a way that this seems to be set up at the beginning. But
Yeah, I think of this movie as more like a broman type of adventure. The ladies just don't get enough play in this film. No matter if Kate is representative of a modern day woman with a huge money making job, she's not connected to Jesse, and Jesse doesn't seem that connected to her either. So you can't just say
yeah,
it's just her. He doesn't really have like a real connection to her. And he doesn't
yeah,
have one to the Virgin either, the Aztec Virgin sacrifice. Although you get the sense that the Virgin sacrifice likes him instead of Charlie. But
but
you
it's weird too though yeah, it's weird too that Charlie's girlfriend breaks up with him too at the same time for no reason. And it seems like she was like into him, and suddenly they almost have like a clique. It's like a very toxic radio a employee clique that they're all just like evil all of a sudden.
No,
It's,
no, I agree with you. I'm more concerned about the Charlie and his girlfriend because he's supposed to be her manager as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like he helps her set up the whole scheme to get Kate to notice her. Like and then she just drops him.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean
like, wow,
these are like really I mean
hello.
it's they're shitty people though. It's like, but it's the weirdest thing at that Halloween party though, because but even like he starts to act different. They come upstairs and the first thing Charlie does is he sits down on the couch with this other hot chick, and it's like, you know, he just like sits down on the couch with this other girl. And I don't even, it's like so weird the way that the script all got on the same page all of a sudden. Like, and the original girlfriends became um against them all of a sudden. I don't know.
The only person who's not really against was it Jesse is Rochelle. Was that her name, Rochelle? Yeah,
Yeah,
Rochelle.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
Rochelle's like, yeah, like his old girlfriend who just happens to show up at the party dressed as a maid, and like, she's pretty good actress, I thought. I
she
liked
does
her.
a good
Yeah.
job. And of course, Jesse forgets about her and she gets drunk, waiting for him.
Yes.
And then she's hiding in the cupboard, which I thought was
Yeah.
kind of weird. Like she's just sitting there in the cupboard.
Yeah, I guess it
But
has. Yeah, she's real drunk. You think she'd at least be throwing up if she was that drunk.
this movie. It doesn't matter. A lot of stuff that we're picking on now is that we're older now. In the 80s,
Yeah,
dude, I was a little kid. I was like a
right.
12
But
year
yeah, but I mean, I think this has always hurt it for me though. Like this
old.
dynamic. Yeah, because I think it hurts the first act a lot. It makes it like that first act not click as good, because that's what I'm saying. Once they get them out of there,
Yeah,
it's a lot better.
yeah. So I want to talk about the John Ratzenberger sequence because I immediately picked up that whole thing when I first saw this thing, and the fact that I watched Cheers and all that type of stuff, so I knew exactly who he was. I thought his character I loved in this movie, and I love George
Yeah.
Wynn's character in the first one too. But this one here, he seems to be having so much fucking fun when
Right. It,
when they have to go into the Aztec world, Jesse and Charlie.
yeah. Well, the funny thing about this character is it's about shows up about an hour into the movie. It's about
Yeah,
an hour and 30-minute film. But he shows up and he's an electrician. He's there to fix stuff. He's not a very good electrician, it doesn't seem like. He walks over and he's like talking, and he picks up a light. He picks up the lampshade and he has a screwdriver in his hand. He taps the light bulb and the whole thing shatters. It's like very, very hilarious though. And then he's like finds a cable in the wall, and he rips the whole wall open trying to pull, which then he finds the portal, and he's real nonchalant about it. He's like, "We got something to show you," and he's like, "It looks like there's some kind of alternative universe in there or something," like because he's seen it before, but he's like, "You really need to see this," and then he helps him. But it's such a great sequence, and I would have liked to have seen that character more.
same here.
Really, that's like, he stills it briefly. He's maybe in it 15 minutes, but it's such an awesome sequence. It's probably the best sequence of the film, I think. But and
That's
he
why I
even
wanted
like
to talk about it.
fights them. Yeah, yeah, he fights the Aztecs too.
That whole fight sequence where they're fighting
Yeah,
Aztecs in the temple. I think it was just hilarious because they don't really kill them. They keep knocking them out and throwing them into the pit that goes we don't know where.
yeah,
Because there's a pit in this sacrificial temple that they're
yeah.
in.
It's like Temple of Doom though. They're throwing them into the
Uh,
lava pits. I think that's what
that's
it is.
right. Temple of Doom. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and I don't remember when that came out, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was maybe a little bit inspired by that.
I think it was before, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, it's like there's actually there's another really cool sequence in here when they go into the dinosaur world
Hmm.
and then they bring the pterodactyl back into the house and they're having to chase the pterodactyl through the house and he's got the skull in his mouth. That's a really elaborate like special effects sequence with that puppet. And some of it's like a stop motion animation and stuff, but that's a really there's some pretty cool sequences in the film like that.
So that whole thing when they're in the prehistoric world and they first stepped, the cool thing is when they open the room to first see that the room is like half the room and half the a portal to the prehistoric world, and they have to do a double take like, uh
Yeah.
okay, there's a portal in here because this is the first portal they go through, and then they go and get Charlie goes and gets his submachine gun and his other little pistol
Yeah.
for Jesse. It's freaking
But yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Uh,
he shows up with this really big machine gun, and then the pistol, which turns out to be a lighter only. You know?
it's hilarious because they as soon as they go back to the room, the first thing they do is open the door and just start shooting. I was like,
Yeah,
why you guys are just shooting, just to be
yeah,
shooting. And of course, they go into this world and what we see is a giant fucking brontosaurus and shit, and we realize, oh god, this is a freaking prehistoric world that they walked into. Those type of visuals were really fucking cool to me. Stop motion animation and whatever. They're probably using matte paintings with stop motion
right.
animation as well for that sequence there. Uh,
Yeah,
but that just shows you the grandeur of this film that is showing you bigger worlds than just showing you a small little thing. And then of course the big ass caveman who's more like a wrestler. They have an altercation with, and they get thrown around. But
yeah,
that's just a small sequence because once the caveman gets eaten by a dinosaur rat, I guess it is. I looked at it again.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, it does look like a prehistoric giant rat.
Yeah, that thing looks cool, man. The thing that comes up and eats him. That's
I
that's
was like,
that's awesome, man. It was really awesome.
I don't know why they chose that, but it's the 80s. We gonna go with it because it's really cool. And Charlie doesn't realize that the caveman was eaten because he's cowering in the freaking ground, which I thought was hilarious. But you're right. The sequence where the huge pterodactyl steals the crystal skull, and then they have to go to the pterodactyl's nest to get the crystal skull. It's really cool because Charlie's like, "Yeah, you go up there. I ain't going up there."
Yeah,
It's like 100 feet up in the air, and of course he's just watching Jesse as he climbs. And of course, the funny shit is when the baby pterodactyl has the skull in his mouth, and Jesse's fighting with it. And of course, on the ground, Charlie's you see this. You don't know what it is at first, but this thing underneath the ground is coming towards him, coming towards Charlie. You don't get to see what it is, of course, until Jesse falls with the pterodactyl and the crystal skull straight down the nest and into the ground, which really isn't the ground. It is the roof inside the basement where Gramps is, and they just both fall down in there.
yeah. And he's like, you guys could use the stairs or something like that. Yes.
Well, the funny thing is that thing that we don't know what it was that was coming towards Charlie is this damn little dog caterpillar thing. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
where their
yeah,
imaginations were with this movie.
yeah,
Like, besides having this giant prehistoric rat monster, they have this dog faced caterpillar green critter.
yeah. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and it makes a cute puppy dog noises and stuff. And
Yeah, which would be fine if you were trying to make toys like Star Wars and
yeah,
George Lucas, but you kind of wonder, okay, so we have a baby pterodactyl in here, and we have this weird little dog-faced caterpillar monster.
yeah.
Hmm.
Man, it would make some good toys if you think about it. They got a ter yeah, they got that. They got Gramps. They got a caveman. It is.
No one's done any of the action figures of these characters yet. And if you're listening to this podcast, maybe this will give you some good ideas for a film that hasn't been done a billion times as action figures.
Yeah, the on the commentary, Ethan, the director, talked about that a little bit. He said this doesn't make any sense. The caterpillar dog that we added. He's like, I remember at the time I actually he said he came up with the design, and yeah, he says he knows it doesn't make any sense, but that's he kind of leaves it at that. But I don't know. I think it's pretty cool though. I mean, I've always kind of liked it. It doesn't make sense, and it is kind of goofy. Yeah,
It's goofy, but I hate to say this now, but when I was a kid and I saw that fucking little thing, I wanted one of those goddamn little toys.
yeah, yeah.
It's like when Gremlins came out, you want one of those fucking Mogwais, or if you were a bad child, you probably wanted the Gremlin back then. That's all readily available now. Back then when the movie came out, you couldn't just go to a store and get yourself Gremlins and Mogwais and shit. But now you
Right.
can, and someone should do that with this monster here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it'd be cool though. You get the pterodactyl and the puppy caterpillar. You definitely got to have those two, you know.
Uh,
But the pterodactyl should have the crystal skull in its mouth.
yes.
You know?
The Crystal Skull, which for the longest time after this movie, I looked up and researched and realized that was an actual thing, but not with no jewels that had mystical fucking powers or anything like that. But that I always thought was cool as shit. And then of course, Indiana Jones does a Crystal Skull movie. Uh, I don't remember much about that movie, but they did a
Yeah.
movie with a Crystal Skull in it.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's yeah. That one's kind of rough. I don't remember much about it either. It was a little disappointing. I thought they went a little heavy with the CGI in it. It was kind of what killed a lot of it, I thought.
I
Like the yeah.
I'm trying to think. Um, Other sequences in this, I've talked about both the portal sequences that were the most prominent thing, and then of course the ending of the movie. I'm hoping us going back and forth through time in this movie, people have gotten a clearer idea of what we're all talking about if they've never seen the movie.
Yeah. I think yeah, I mean the only thing you hadn't said the very end of it, which and then I do have some notes on the actual location and stuff that's kind of interesting.
Okay. Let's talk about the ending real quick because you're right. We didn't go to the very very ending, the kind of like the resolution to everything after Slim Razor's been killed and the house is burning down, but Jesse flees into the portal with Gramps' body, the pterodactyl, crystal skull, and the
Yeah.
caterpillar dog. Um,
Great Gramps is shot by Slim when he comes out of the turkey portal. So,
yeah.
which kind of sucked that he got shot, but and then dies. But he even this I guess the crystal skull can't bring him back to life. It somehow makes him a zombie, but it can't bring him back to life after he's shot for some reason. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are with it.
They don't explain the rules, dude. It's a match.
It-
Crystal Skull opens portals and shit, and like.
But see, he has it with him when he's buried in the coffin, so that's what makes him still be alive. But how is Slim still alive? I don't know.
Especially considering that Gramps left him to die in a desert somewhere. That's all we get. We get that little tidbit about what happened to Slim. Um, he shoots him, leaves him to die in the desert, and that's about it. And then
Yeah,
he goes back as a ghost,
he
or
deserved that shit, man.
whatever the hell he is. But the film ends after Jesse walks through the portal with all this stuff. It ends with Jesse having buried Gramps and puts this crystal skull on top of the grave. And in the background, of course, you see Charlie and the Virgin sacrifice and everyone in a wagon in the old West. So
Yeah,
they're gonna live their lives out in a different world than the one they came from, with a pterodactyl and a
yeah.
dog-faced worm in the old West. That would have
It's
made
a
it an interesting story.
it's a little baffling at the ending. It's kind of cool, but it's a little baffling. And they got that one girl who apparently likes Jesse and not Charlie. and Charlie's just kind of sitting back there, like, okay, I guess you don't like me. I'm just gonna sit in the back of the wagon with the caterpillar.
Yeah, it is. It's both a satisfying and a strange ending to the movie. Uh,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
like to me, it's I don't know. I mean, it's cool. It's a cool ending, but those cops were just so like unreasonable. Came and shot his house up and burned it down, and he had to. The only way to get away from the stupid cops was to go into a western portal. And it's like these cops are just they were unreasonable, and I don't think they really had any evidence to begin with for what they were doing.
mhm. Well, the other thing I found really strange is that he just leaves the crystal skull right on top of Gramps' grave for anyone
Yeah,
to steal. Like, that's a
yeah,
very dangerous weapon for
yeah.
anyone looking for a mystical item that can open portals to other worlds, and he just leaves it there. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, why would he do that? And why would like the first time they buried it with Gramps, why wouldn't he bury it with him? And two, it's like he might as well just keep it. I mean, I don't see why he would leave it. I don't know. But I think leaving it would have been a cool thing if like kind of like they did with the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen when if that brought Gramps back to life again, kind of like at the end of that movie, which the ground shakes and then you think that Sean Connery's character is going to come back, but it could have like Gramps' hand coming out of the ground or something like that would have been cool. They needed that, I think.
Bring Gramps back in the Western world where he belonged to begin with. Oh,
Yeah,
rejuvenated since they did this since the Crystal Skull never rejuvenated him like he thought it was going to do. That sequence is kind of harrowing when you listen to it. That when Gramps comes to the realization that he's a fucking zombie because the skull didn't rejuvenate him to his original splendor, I guess his original
right.
like beforehand. He's just been more or less a dead mummy for 70 years in a grave. And that's even worse to think about there, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
Because,
right.
he says he's 170 years old. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
The scene where he does die is a good scene between him and Ari Gross. Between Rollo Dano and Ari Gross when they he's dying and he basically brings the skull and he's like, I got the skull, and he's like, oh, it's not going to help anymore, and it's a really good scene, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think it is too because a lot of the films like this probably wouldn't have had that type of scene. It's a good kind of resolution for the two characters. Um, so and of course, I think that's the time where he first thinks he's gotten rid of Slim Razor before Slim Razor comes back as a headless corpse, which I thought was I thought that was a cool idea to do that, after the fact.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Slim. I kind of find it hard to believe that he's even dead after they blow his whole body up and burn the house down. I bet he comes back as ashes later.
That's because you kind of wonder if he's a ghost or whatever the hell he is, how they killed him to begin with.
Yeah, yeah,
Because he just seems to appear and disappear in that house throughout the whole movie, in the scenes that he's in. Like,
yeah. You're right.
show
Yeah,
up, and of course, a regular gun is going to shoot him and blow his head off, and then regular guns from outside are going to kill him. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
those are questions we don't need to answer for to enjoy this movie, especially if you're a young person watching it for the first time, or if you enjoyed it in the 80s when the movie came out. You don't need to answer those questions. Those just, those just give up more questions, the more logic stuff that's wrong with the movie, which we
Well,
don't
it's kind of like we almost have to do it when we do these podcasts
know.
because we're talking about it for too long. But obviously, when I'm watching the movie the first time, even this time, I don't really care that much about those questions. It's you watch it for entertainment, even like the Halloween party. But we kind of got to nitpick a little bit to make this a little fun, I think.
Oh no, we most definitely. What my thing I always like to tell everyone is this. It's much more fun to talk about movies that have flaws than to talk about movies that have no flaws. Those movies, though, we kind of get to those episodes pretty easily and fast because we have so little to talk about because they're good, they're great.
Yeah.
It's much more fun to have these films like this that we find entertaining, but have these type of weird flaws that sometimes just scratch at the back of your skull that you can't get rid of. But they do not take away from the enjoyment of watching the film. I have seen this movie, I don't know how many times. I haven't seen this one nearly as many times as I've seen the original House movie, but I've seen it very close to that. I have not watched the third one or the fourth one more than once, actually. I've not seen the horror show,
Yeah.
and I've not seen the fourth one only once.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I'm gonna watch the other two again though because I got copies of them now. But I've only seen them both one time, and I barely remember the fourth one. I
I don't
hardly
remember any of
remember
them.
it. Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
saw it when it first came out. I saw it, I rented it, saw it, and never owned it, and never saw it again. And the box set is the only way to get that one, I believe. I don't think
yeah,
they've ever released the fourth one by itself. Uh,
maybe. Yeah, probably not.
I think it's
I'm
only in
not
the
sure.
box set. It's kind of like watching The Omen 4,
Yeah,
the TV movie Omen
yeah.
4. It's hard to find if you don't get it in the box set.
What's weird about the Omen 4 was I've actually seen that one because they used to play that one on I think
TV.
HBO or something. That's the one I've seen more than any of the other ones.
Really?
Yeah. Got like Michael Lerner in it and stuff. He's a good detective. It's pretty good part. But
That was the made for TV movie.
yeah, yeah,
Although I think I think I saw it, I recorded it, so I saw like 4 or 5 times when I was a kid, and then didn't see
yeah,
it again until the box set. I had
yeah,
the box set for a while, so I saw it then. I was like, oh yeah, this movie isn't nearly as good as I remembered it. And
yeah. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen it since then. I do have the box set. I hadn't watched it yet though. But I don't know. Yeah,
yeah, so precursor to everyone, I'm not a huge fan of the Omen films, which is why we haven't done them, but I'm sure we will one day. Just like, we will definitely do the original House because that's, in my opinion, is one of the great '80s movies. I if you want us to do the House 4 and the horror show, we will. It's just those two movies are just not ones that we talk about that often, so we haven't done them yet. But we are more than welcome to do that. We will.
yeah. I mean, I like to do all four of them. Just do that. You could, you can.
Well, we'll do it as part of our next franchise bump
Yeah, there you go.
next year. So everybody who's been listening, if you enjoyed our August month of franchise films, we are definitely going to do it again. And maybe we'll do the Omen franchise. All right. So Dave, any final thoughts about House 2, the second story?
Well, I got a couple of just production things I was going to
Oh yeah,
mention.
that's right. Let's
Yeah,
get
yeah. What one thing which I just thought of, you just reminded me of it. Ethan Wiley, who directed this one, wrote the first House and this one. So that was a kind of a cool connection between the two. I do like it's fairly imaginative really in both of the films. Like it's very creative, imaginative stuff in both of the films. That the house in this one is a huge mansion that's a real mansion. The outside scenes, it's called Newhall Mansion. It's in California, in Piru, California. And it's been used in some other films and movies and things of that nature. And but that's just the outside scenes. The inside stuff was all done in a studio, and that set, I think the set design is very interesting on the inside of the house. It's like a mixture between all the different places that they go, like Aztec
Mm.
and Western and even prehistoric. So it's a very really interesting set design on the inside of it of the house.
Oh yeah. So if you haven't seen the movie, or if you have, the opening not the opening scene, but the scene where Jesse and Kate first walk into the house, the way the light shines through the windows, the multicolored glass that shines across
Yeah,
the entire freaking front foyer is really fucking cool, and it kind of gives you a sense of the scale and the ambiance of this house. And of course, one of the questions is who decorated this house.
yeah, yeah. But she says that Kate says that. She also that you get out there and she said, "Wow, it's really big," and it really is big. Can you imagine that house is like so ridiculously big? Like you come up and you're like two people are going to live in this house that's just like needs servants to like operate.
With all these bedrooms that they have different portals through. It's just,
Yeah,
it'd be cool as shit. Now that I know it's a real house, I'd love to go just see the outside of the real one if it still looks
yeah.
the same.
Apparently, I don't know if it still looks the same, but it probably does. It's kind of got some, it's like a Victorian house with some Gothic type of architecture going on there.
Mm.
Looks pretty cool.
Any other tech notes or anything else you want to add?
That's all I got right now.
Okay, okay. All right, so for everyone listening, what we like to do is we like to rate the film from 1 to 5 stars. One being horrible. You should never even touch it. And 5 stars is you should definitely go about and check it out. Where in this on this spectrum, Dave, do you find House 2?
I'm going to give it a 3-star rating. I like the film. It's a little uneven, I think, with especially the first act of the film. But I really once it gets into the fun part of it, I really like. I like the comedy, and I like that I like that it connects a little bit like with the portals to the first House film.
Okay. I'm gonna be a little bit split on this one because if I had rated this movie before I rewatched it for the podcast, I would have given it a 4. Because I've seen the movie and I love this movie. After watching it, I saw the same stuff you did. Because I started to look at it more critically, and now I'm going with a 3 now. But that the reason why I do the split like this is because if you're not watching it with a critical eye, some of this stuff will just be superfluous. You won't even care. You're gonna watch it. You're gonna be entertained. I think this movie is still entertaining even today. You're gonna take this adventure in this film with the characters, and you're gonna love it. That's why I would give it a 4. But if you're gonna look at it and you're gonna nitpick and you're gonna try and find holes in it, you're probably be close to the 3 because, like what Dave said, it does when you think about that first half or first third of the movie until it becomes really the Charlie Gramps Jesse movie. It's there's a lot of disconnect with the everything that comes before them. Um,
It, yeah, I think I actually liked it better this time when I watched it than the last time. It was weird because I liked it the first time I watched it. I think I watched it maybe a few years ago, and I just didn't get into it. I think I put it on. It was on streaming, and I watched it this time from this collection, and I thought it looked a lot better in the copy I had than the last time I saw it. But I've actually really enjoyed it more this time than last time. The first 20 minutes is a bit of a struggle though for me every time I've tried to watch it.
really.
Yeah,
It's always funny to me because I know of the when I saw this I didn't know who Lar Park Lincoln was until Friday 13th, and she's in one of my favorite sequels. I love the sequel of Friday
yeah,
13th that she's in. And of
yeah.
course Bill Maher, he's in this in one of my other guilty pleasure movies, which is, don't laugh at me people, because when I say the title you're going to be laughing, which is Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. Dude, the guy is funny as shit in that movie. He's funny in this movie.
Yeah.
I love him and I love this show. I haven't watched it recently, but I used to watch it all the time. I love this show. And so those type of things, like to me, I just will keep watching over and over again. And Jonathan Stark. For me, this movie is just so damn much fun because of the cast and all the people I now recognize. Now I got something else to watch because I didn't realize until I recently rewatched that Kane Hodder was in it as the guy in the gorilla suit.
Yeah.
Uh,
What was funny, yeah, what was funny is like I saw him and I was like, that looks like Kane Hodder. He's a lot younger, but I was like, that looks like him. So I rewound it back and I put the director's commentary on, and then sure enough, they confirmed that, you know.
I did the same thing when I rewatched it because Kane Hodder showed up in Alligator 2, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, he showed up in a lot of damn movies I didn't realize until now when I'm rewatching this stuff. Uh,
Yeah, he's like I guess he did the stunts too in that film. He was like several times he was like Arnie Gross when he was doing stunts and things of that nature when things happen.
yeah. He like I mentioned, I think in that in that episode where I mentioned that I've read his book, and he did a shit ton of stunts for so many movies that he doesn't even remember all the movies that he did stunts for.
Right, right. Yeah.
Stunt coordinator, all of that he did on tons of movies in addition to actually being in movies as an actor. And he can't remember them all.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
fun to watch these movies. It's fun to watch them. It's fun to look back at these great people that we or these people's early careers that we think are great. It's unfortunate that Ari Gross, uh, he did more stuff after this, but I don't think he ever really starred in much.
Yeah. What's funny though about him, when I saw this, I thought he was a bigger star than he was. because I'd seen him in some stuff. There's a movie called Hexed. You ever see
Yes,
that?
I fucking
He's like,
love X,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, it's good. And he's like the main star in it. But there's another film that was on HBO at the time called The Opposite Sex and How to Live with Them, and he's the main character in that. So
I
there's like three movies where he was like the main character in around the same time, and I was just like, okay, this guy's gonna he's gonna be a big star. But he's still acting, but he's not like the lead a lot of times, you know. But he's in a film called oh geez, now I'm not gonna remember the name of it. It's like an army like Midnight Clear. You ever see Midnight Clear?
Oh, that's a really good movie. I haven't
Yeah,
seen it
yeah,
in years, though. That was an excellent movie.
yeah. He's one of the main characters in that. It's an ensemble film, but it's really good. But
I
yeah,
think that's the one with
yeah, yeah,
shit. Ethan Hawke, I think is the other.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's got like a Frank Welly's in it, and it's got like an ensemble cast. Like Peter Berg's in it.
yeah. Peter Berg.
Yeah,
Jeez, before he
yeah,
became a huge freaking director.
yeah. But
Uh,
it's yeah, and he's really good in it too. Peter Berger is, but
oh
it's
yeah, I
yeah, I
forgot
like that
about
movie though.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we mentioned another film that Ari Gross is great in, Midnight Clear, which is a film that does not get talked about enough, in my opinion. I think it was more like an art house movie when it came out.
right.
Uh,
There is a Shout Select release of it. It's pretty decent release.
really?
Yeah.
I don't own it. I haven't seen it in years because I don't own it. I've never owned it. But Hex, I don't own
Yeah.
that either. Well, I have a VHS.
Yeah, I don't have Hexed either. I hadn't seen that one in a long time.
I have a VHS somewhere. I don't even know if it's on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, maybe they'll release it eventually. I don't know. I haven't seen The Opposite Sex and How to Live with Them either, so I don't
Oh,
know.
I was like, because isn't it Claudia Christian is co-starring the Hex? I think it's Claudia Christian,
Yeah,
where she's
yeah,
she's fucking crazy as shit. Uh,
yeah. It's
oh,
been a really long time. I just remember that all those films are coming out, and I thought he was like going to be like a really big deal, like Artie Gross. It's just like, and then all of a sudden it's like what? I mean, even like I had to actually go and look him up. I was like, I feel like he's done a lot more stuff, but he still acts. He's got a lot of credits, but not like big credits.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I think he probably had a time where people thought he was going to be like one of those really it actors,
Yeah,
and then he just never had a hit. I do not think Hext was a big hit. Uh,
nah, nah. I think
uh,
that was probably the problem. Even this didn't do as good. It didn't bomb, but it didn't do as good as they wanted it
yeah.
to.
So, and we mentioned those people, and hopefully you can go find them. But I can tell you right now, you can go watch Text on Tubi because I had to look it up. I don't think I could watch my VHS copy.
Yeah, yeah, it probably wouldn't look very good. Yeah,
Oh my God. Yeah. One of the two 15 VHS copies of movies I have, I still have Hexed
yeah,
somewhere.
that's pretty
But
cool though. Yeah,
oh my God. Uh, uh, yeah. So small aside before we end this episode, the only freaking VHS movies I still own are going to be comedies that were so bad and didn't make any money that they haven't bothered to make them into DVDs or Blu-rays yet. I have lots of comedies like that no one's bothered to make it to Blu-rays and DVDs. But we're not going to
right.
talk about those in this show. This is about horror movies, and we have great DVD companies now producing quality 4K releases and Blu-rays of amazing films that have been forgotten. Thankfully the whole
Yeah.
entire House franchise has been put out by who again? Who did the
Well,
box?
Arrow did it, but it's Arrow UK. But they actually played in my player. But I think they do have a 4K of the first house, but the other ones are. It looks good on Blu-ray anyway. I thought,
Okay, so
and yeah, well, a lot of movies that aren't good have good releases too. So it's even bad movies are now getting like the red carpet treatment.
yeah, yeah.
And
More so with horror though, because that's who's buying physical media. Physical media, it's all going to be horror and sci-fi and fantasy.
yeah,
We fans are still buying this stuff, so we will buy upgrades of them repeatedly. But unfortunately, that doesn't work as well with drama and comedies.
so some of the bigger comedies are getting good releases. Like Uncle Buck got a really good 4K release, which I think the movie's really good. But then Summer Rental got like a Blu-ray release, but some of those are getting like, especially I think Uncle Buck was got a lot of it's a pretty recent release. It got a
Yeah,
lot of press about that one. There's a
yeah,
few of them that are even like what Kingpin got a really good release as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and with that, since we've drifted off into comedy, we are going to end this episode of Conversations in Horror. All right, we do sometimes go off on tangents, and sometimes when we go off on tangents that steer into other genres, I need to pull it back a little bit, guys. But we do hope that you've enjoyed this episode and enjoyed us talking about House 2, the second story, as it is being released during our month of Halloween. Go out there and watch this movie for Halloween. Enjoy it. Watch it with the first one. You'll have a blast watching a double feature of these two movies. With that, I want to thank you, Dave, for joining us on the show today. Everyone out there, make sure to check out previous episodes of the show on your favorite podcast app, Spotify or YouTube. You can always find our episodes all across the board. We have over 150. We've celebrated our 150th episode not that long ago. So make sure you check out all of those episodes. Make sure to check out our sister podcast, Conversations in 4Color, which delves deep into manga, graphic novels, and comic books. And from all of us here at Something Wicked Entertainment, we want to wish you a pleasant day and celebrate the month of October with all the greatest Halloween movies out there. From all of us, have a good day, and we'll see you on the next episode. Conversations in Horror is a Broken Lighthouse Pictures production, written, produced, and directed by Kevin L. Powers, executive producer Kelly A. Inoka. All contents and material from this episode of Conversations in Horror is copyright 2025 Broken Lighthouse Pictures.